years. We'll get into that in a second. Just get comfortable here. Take 10. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. It's the Hotline Show. Today is January 12th, 2025. It's the 45th Hotline Show. Now, if you don't know and you're new here, the Hotline Show is a show where people call the number. It's in the description below. They leave a message. They ask a question. They propose a theory. They tell me what their favorite food is. It can be anything. And then I will answer that question on the show here. But today is different. Today, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of my everyday project. It's probably the reason why a bunch of people are here watching this channel. Now, I know I've said in the past that I don't really want to talk about it, and I don't, but I still do sometimes. I feel like 25 years is probably enough time, and just go over it a little bit. And, you know, that's what we're going to do today. No calls. I'm just going to talk about some stuff. I brought some things over that I think might be relatively interesting. We'll go through and we're just going to have a fun time hanging out, talking, looking at pictures of my face. Now, first things first, I did make a new grid, the 25-year grid right here. Now, this is 9,084 pictures. It's pretty amazing. And the actual full high resolution grid is much larger. And it's funny, this particular one, the way I had this sort of set up, each one of these photos at their highest resolution is only 320 by 240 pixels. So they're really tiny actually, but you can zoom in. But even at that tiny size, the full res of this grid is actually 19,200 by 36,240 pixels, or 266 inches by 503 inches, or 22 by 42 feet. Now, I know there might be people who are on metric. Sorry, you can Google it. I'm not going to help you out. But it's big. And, you know, I guess 42 feet, that's like 4 stories of a building. That's tall. And my printer isn't that big. It can come in various sizes. I would love to print that big one day. A couple of years back in the 2020, did 20 years, and that was like a 5-foot tall print. I think each one might have been 640 by 480. I don't know. I don't remember. It's a lot of things about this project that I don't really remember. I've just done it. Over 25 years, a lot happens, and you just forget a whole bunch of stuff. And in fact, I actually started this project on January 10th, 2000. Now, all my videos, almost all the places this is in print, say January 11th, 2000. I don't know why that happened, but I'm sure maybe in 2006, when I put the first YouTube video up, that was just a mistake, and I just incorrectly dated it. And then as years went on, I guess I might have noticed it, but I felt like I couldn't change it or didn't want to admit that I made a mistake. So I just went on with that for many years, and it's only until the past few years I've been recognizing that the actual start date is January 10th, 2000. Does it matter? I don't know. But I feel like I've had to come clean on that. And that's the reality of the situation. So thank you to everyone who writes me on January 11th. But going forward, we'll start saying January 10th. Maybe. Now, I'm not going to make a video of this. I just did one in 2020. It just feels like too soon. I don't want to do it all the time. I'm just not interested in doing it all the time. Next video will probably be in 2030. I think 30 years will be a nice video. What else? Well, I keep a drawer in my flat files behind me, right there. And bottom drawer, I keep all of the sort of press, materials, books, magazines, all the things sort of related to the project in that drawer as an archive of the things that have happened with this project. And I felt like today I want to bust some of that out and show you guys some of the interesting random books, magazines, newspapers that this project has ended up in. Now, there's like categories of things. So there's newspapers from all around the world here. Newspapers, interestingly enough, don't hold up that well over time. They fade. This is the New York Times. This might be like one of the first major pieces of press that the project got in the art section of the New York Times. Now, we've got newspapers, we've got magazines, we have what I call random books here, and then then we have show catalogs and photography journals and stuff like that. So it's sort of three or four different categories of stuff, not to mention videos and other types of things. That's sort of a separate thing that I don't want to get into today, but thought like, oh, maybe it'll be interesting. Let's like flip through some of this and see some of the super random, some fun, some like lowbrow, some highbrow, some things I'm proud of, some things that I think are embarrassing, but at the same time, I don't really care. So let's do that. And I guess we'll just start with the newspapers. I sort of showed you the New York Times here. Got that. There's this, newspapers are hard because they don't really they're hard to open up and stuff. But I think this one's from Liberacion in 2006. They printed this. It's kind of interesting. Can't read it. I don't know what's in here. This is the Daily Breeze Rave. Oh, right here. Got this. So, there's that. It's always kind of interesting. And that's from 2007. I love how stuff ages, you know? In the time, sometimes I feel a little like, oh, I don't like it at the time. And then as it ages, you give things time and they just become interesting and fascinating. And, you know, give it some space. Some of this stuff, it's so interesting. I mean, this is from 2009. I get stuff sent to me. I don't even remember agreeing to it. This one is wild. This is the Daily News, New York Daily News, January 2nd, 2008. He got the fame, but she got the fortune. I've read this a few times, and I think it's mean to me. Nice payday for score to YouTube hit. I mean, it's kind of true. I think she did get the fortune. She didn't really get the fortune, did she? I don't know. This one is this was only from a few years ago. My sort of local newspaper. They call me the godfather of the selfie, which is pretty funny. I'll take it. Interesting thing about that, because it was somewhat local, I ended up getting this like letter in the mail from my New York State Assemblywoman, Eileen Gunther. She wrote me a handwritten note that said, great article and great idea. And you know something? From an elected official, doing that really meant a lot to me, because it's like, oh, you're paying attention to the community and whatnot. And I thought that was really good. And that's like something a local representative should do. So she always got my vote. I always voted for her after that. Let's get into some magazines here. Let's look at this. Kunst. I don't know where this is from. Germany, maybe? Look at this. Gonna hold it up. I don't know. Sometimes I see what people say and I'm like, oh no. Not again. JPEG magazine. Let's look at this. Let's see if we can find it in here. Oh, a little interview. Interviews I definitely don't read back because the shit that I say, I take it back, most likely. This is a Russian magazine, fully in Russian, so I have no idea what it says. What's that? Oops. see what's in this one. I don't know where this also Russian. You know, Russia. There's something about Russia and Russians. They really enjoy my work as a whole. So they've written about me quite a lot. It's funny, in the back, contributors, and there's my photo. I think this has, so this was more about my everyday celebrity project. I think they put in, let me see here. Maybe sort of unrelated, but there was this time, and I don't know if some of you remember, where I sort of became like an internet celebrity. So I went around to like do some TV stuff, and that was a project where I took my self-portraits with people who were sort of celebrities at the time or sort of somewhat famous. There's that, not necessarily every day. Mad Magazine. This one is fun, I think. I mean, they were mean to me. It's the 50 worst things about the internet. And here I am right there. And they say, that douchebomb who took a picture of himself every day for 6 years and posted it on YouTube. Hey, Skippy, the only video of you we want to see is a montage of 2,190 daily shots of your occupied casket. I mean, is that funny? I didn't really think it was funny, but you know, I like being on this list. It's not funny because like I'm offended by it. I just think it's not a funny joke. So yeah, but Mad Magazine, when I was a kid, I loved Mad Magazine. What else we get in this one? But yeah, that's cool. Into that. Now let's go into, we'll do a couple of these books. I know there's way more of these books that I have around, and then sometimes I just come across a book around my house or something, and I'm like, why do I have that book? And then I flip through it, and it's like, oh yeah, because I'm in it. And this one, I don't even, I think this is a novel. I don't know, but there's literally just one picture right there, and then this whole thing, it's Spanish. I don't think, this might not be a novel. This is one of my favorite ones. This is a new one that I got just in the last couple of years. It's called How to Make a What Is This? It's Japanese, and I like how this book came out, and yeah, the layout. I like this. This is the 20-year grid. Every day, Kalina took a picture of himself in exactly the same way. He started doing this when he was 19, and at this point, he's been doing it over 20 years. That's what it says. This one's interesting. This is a self-portrait book, like how to take self-portraits, by a photographer who I think we would chat on Flickr, you know, a million years ago. Miss Anelia. I think that's how you say her name. But she mostly wanted to talk to me about my project that I called What Happens in Vegas. But it obviously, it starts with, you know, introducing me here. And then there's a little bit of an interview. And then there's just these self-portraits that I made in Las Vegas, where I would stand around and like this hottest, this one I really like, actually. Little essay that I wrote that I haven't read since. And I'm sort of scared too. But I actually really like this picture. So that was fun. That was great. You know, I think what's interesting about this project is sort of all of the different ways that it's been sort of covered or embraced. High art, low art. We're about to see some low art here. This Ripley's Believe It or Not, the reality shock version. I mean, this book, I don't even like having it in my drawer, and I like hide it away because it's just sort of so aggressively obnoxious. Just everything about it. I hope I got paid for this one. Yeah. So it's on this page that has trash fashion, human skin rug, and then a man who took a photo of himself every day for 12 years. So I'm down here. Look at that. How awful is that? Oh, so bad. I mean, I feel like when I was like 11 years old, I really liked books like this. So that's why I like agreed to do it. And now it exists there. I'm not too concerned about it ruining my reputation, although maybe it should. Now, this is my favorite collection of books. I don't think this is all of them, but this is like a collection of journals and show catalogs of, where it's people who are talking about photography in a serious way, or shows that I've been in and they produced really amazing show catalogs. This is actually like I don't know what you would call it. It's a book about photography. It's called After Photography. I know I've heard from some people who go to school for photography that they read this book as part of their curriculum. Sort of highbrow photography theory and stuff like this. I should read it one day. There might be a new edition. This one is great. The Routledge Companion to Photography and Visual Culture. Now, this book, this is some serious shit. And it feels like a book. It feels like a textbook, and it is. I mean, look at how dense this is. What I always find interesting about this is like how I'm sort of positioned in the history of photography. It's an honor in many ways, and I'm blown away. And then, sometimes I look at the artists that I sit next to, and I'm like, wow, do I even belong there? Visual Communication Quarterly, another sort of photography journal. Journals are really great to get into because it feels serious. I'm doing serious work. So this was about my What Happens in Vegas self-portrait project, but they do sort of introduce it with the Everyday series. And then, of course, they made these black and white, but my other self-portraits from that series. This is Exposure Journal, photography journal, which it's the Society for Photographic Education, and they actually just put me on the cover. And I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try to hold the light, but I don't know if we can get it. But there's an E, and they were like, oh yeah, there it is. Do you see that? And they said they did that. That's the exposure, because it's called Exposure, but also Every Day. So there's a little write-up about this in here. Really just right there. That's cool. Anyone wants a copy of this, I have 2 extras. So for people that email me, let me know. I'll send it out to you. Visual Communication by Paul Lester. I don't even know where I am in this. Okay. Oh yeah, right here. Should read this. Seems pretty interesting. I wonder if there's a new edition. That's kind of cool. This, Cough and Cough. I think that's how you say it. This was a show that I was in, and this is the best show catalog that I've ever been a part of. Amazing artists, and then, a full section dedicated to me in here. The early days. This is an amazing book. Oh, and these last 2 that I have that I took out over here. These are from the School of Visual Arts, where I went to school, Visual Arts Journal. Sort of great to be recognized by my school. So they did this here. You can see that. And did a little write-up on me. So that's cool. Love that. And then sort of last but not least, this show catalog for a show that I was in called Myths and Realities, which was curated by Kathy Ryan and Scott Thode, her husband, who's a picture editor. And the show was amazing. There's a lot of really incredible artists who came out of the School of Visual Arts. So to me, I'm just sort of blown away to be a part of this and to be just sort of next to a lot of these people. I mean, Simon Johann is one of my favorite artists here. And then, of course, here's me, my pictures. We did, you know, the stills here, but in the show was the video. And I made a video, I think the 12-year version of Every Day that I put on YouTube was what I made to be in this show. There's just too much. Well, that's the Hotline Show. Thank you so much for coming. Do the stuff, like, subscribe, call the number, it's in the description below. Until we meet again. Thank you.